Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live session. Let me introduce myself. My name is Al Parsai. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I have more than 10 years of experience as an immigration consultant. I have represented people that they were either citizens or residents of 50 plus countries. Actually, I think right now we are at the number 54. And I am the author of 88 Tips on Immigration to Canada, this book, which has been identified several times by Amazon.ca as the bestseller book under the immigration law. So if you want to know more about immigration to Canada, you could consider buying 88 Tips on Immigration to Canada. I teach courses at Ashton College as an immigration professor. I teach them how to deal with different kinds of cases. And I also have been recently appointed as a Queen's University professor. Hopefully in the near future, I will also teach courses at the Queen's University, which is one of the best universities in Canada. Today, there we have a few exciting pieces of news, and I need to share them with you. Then, after sharing the news with you, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those questions. So, to begin with, let's review the news. The first thing before I share the news, while I'm waiting for the rest of you to show up, is that recently I've been asked this question that if I'm an international student in Canada, can I work after finishing my studies? I have published an article, actually I published it just a few hours ago to reply to this question. But generally speaking, if you are an international student and you're studying in Canada, in most cases, not always, you are allowed to work up to 20 hours per week. And during the school breaks, you could work up to 40 hours per week. So that's the standard for many international students. Now, what are the conditions? I have published them on the video, and the link of the video is here below this video as well. Sorry, not a video, an article. So I also posted on the chat box. You can take a look at it. But at the end of the day, if you have finished your studies and your studies qualified you for 20-hour work per week, then as soon as you apply for your postgraduate work permit or you get a valid job offer and apply for another type of work permit, then you are qualified to work. However, if you have finished your studies and you have not received, submitted your work permit application, then unfortunately you cannot work. Of course, when you're applying for a work permit, your study permit still needs to be valid. And a study permit could become invalid under different circumstances. For example, when you have finished your studies and at least 90 days has passed since the finishing of your studies, or because at the time that you finished your studies, couple of weeks later, less than 90 days, the expiry date of your study permit shows up. So please read my article. I already posted underneath this video when I published the recorded version, and I also posted this in the chat box. It's about whether you can work as an international student after finishing your studies. Now let's talk about the news. The big news is if you have submitted your visit visa application before September 7th, 2021, and especially if that visa application is for a loved one that you're hoping to visit you soon, then in that situation, you need to resubmit the visa application. This is a recommendation by IRCC, because many of the visa applications that we submitted before September 7th, they have been in line waiting to be reviewed for several weeks, in some cases for several months. And it looks like that the immigration authorities somehow have lost track of those visit visa applications. So they say if you want to trigger the system and make sure that we quickly review your visit visa application, we recommend that you resubmit your visit visa application if your previous application was before September 7th, 2021. Now, when you're submitting your new visa application, it is okay if you keep your previous visa application open. They will either review your previous visa application sooner or the older visa application sooner, whichever is reviewed and completed. If they issue the visa, then you can withdraw the other application. However, they also gave us a warning that even if you withdraw the application, there is no guarantee that they will process the withdrawal. So there is a chance that you will end up paying 2 processing fees. So you have to be very careful with all the potential problems that you could face. Having said that, I think it looks like it when the government says that don't do this, then, or do this, we have to follow them and do it. So here we go. This is the link to that article. And I also, when we publish this video, I will post the link below this video. So you can read our article. It has more details on about this topic. But at the end of the day, it is in your best interest that if you have submitted a visa application, especially if you are in a hurry, for example, you have a close family member like a brother, sister, or mother or father that you're hoping to visit soon in Canada, then it is in your best interest that you resubmit the application if the previous application was submitted before September 7th. Now, that's what the IRCC recommended. Obviously, whatever I'm talking here is just passing the news. It doesn't constitute immigration advice. If you want me to review your special circumstances, then get in touch with me and I will answer your questions. Obviously, my consultation sessions are not free, but we can discuss and I offer you my point of view. Okay, so let's go to the next big news. So the next big news is that, generally speaking, if you're inside Canada and you want to apply for a work permit or a study permit, then you need to already hold a work permit or a study permit to reapply for example, the work permit. So that's the general rule. By the way, if you have any questions, you can post them in the chat. I will, when I'm finished with the news, I will definitely answer your questions. So don't worry, we will go through the questions. Just stay tuned, and when I'm done with the news, I will answer your questions, and you don't need to repeat your questions. So let me again start from scratch about this piece of news. So if, generally speaking, when you're inside Canada, you can only apply for another work permit if you already have a valid work permit or a study permit. There are other conditions that also could allow you to apply from inside Canada. But in most cases, if you are a visitor in Canada, then you cannot apply for a work permit from inside Canada. If you do that, the immigration officer will almost immediately refuse your application on the basis that you are not qualified to apply for a work permit from inside Canada. And this is under section 199 of the regulations that says where you can apply, can you apply for a work permit from inside Canada or not. The other thing that you need to know is that when you are inside Canada, and let's say you want to change your employers and you already hold a valid work permit, but you submit the work permit application for the new employer, and let's say you have all the documents in place, you cannot start working for the new employer unless the immigration authorities issue a new work permit for you. But guess what? The government of Canada changed the rules for these two issues that I explained because of COVID-19. And those came to an end on August 31st, 2021. Luckily, the government extended the public policy until the end of February 2022. So what does that mean? This means that until the end of February 2022, if you are a visitor who is inside Canada, assuming that you receive a job offer from an employer in Canada, and that job offer is a valid job offer, it comes with necessary documents like, for example, LMIA, or if it is exempt from LMIA, it is registered under the employer portal, those kind of things. So let's say everything is in place. You don't need to leave Canada and apply for a work permit. You may remain in Canada and apply for a work permit under this policy, which is amazing. So this allows the visitors to apply for a work permit from inside Canada until February 28th, 2022. Keep that in mind, that this does not mean that visitors are allowed to work without a work permit. That's not the case. You have to apply for a work permit. However, you may apply for the work permit from inside Canada. The other piece of this policy is that if you are already a worker in Canada with a valid work permit, and then you receive a job offer with proper documentation from another employer, if you submit your new work permit application before February 28, 2022, then you may start working for the new employer even when you are waiting for the work permit application to be processed. So let me repeat myself. If you are a worker inside Canada with a valid work permit, and then you get a job offer from another employer with all necessary documents, if you submit the work permit application for the new employer from inside Canada, you may start working for the new employer immediately, assuming that the application is being submitted on or before February 28, 2022. Now, this is an important piece of news to recap this. We have published a news piece on our website. I just posted this on the chat box. I will also post it below this video. So the title of the article is that Canada is allowing certain visitors to extend their work permits, and it will cover both scenarios. Okay, keep that in mind. Again, I'm going to repeat myself. Read the articles carefully, because there has been some misinformation in the past about this policy. It doesn't give us a free ticket to work in Canada. It's just that it adjusts some of the limitations that they existed in the past. And here we go. So the other piece of news is that we had some rounds of invitations from some of the provinces in Canada for provincial nominee program. So I'm going to just read through this from our website. Here is the link to my article, and I published this below my video as well. So on September 8th, Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, or SINP or SINP, invited 528 immigration candidates to apply for a provincial nomination. In addition, this draw targeted express entry and occupations in demand candidates. Keep in mind that for OID, or occupations in demand, most people who are being selected are people that they have association inside Canada. And for association with Saskatchewan, actually, the association with Saskatchewan, like work experience in Canada, having close relatives in Canada, or study in Canada, you receive 30 points. So if you are outside Canada, you unfortunately lose 30 points automatically out of 100 points. And right now, the lowest score that we had for OID was 66. So this is great news, because most of the time, the lowest score is over 70. And when it goes below 70, it means that Saskatchewan also invited a few people that they were outside Canada and they didn't have any association. Maybe they are inside Canada, but they didn't have any associations with Saskatchewan. So that's great news for those few people that they were selected. But 66 out of 70, keep in mind, it means that you are super qualified. But anyways, on September 8, 2021, Saskatchewan invited 212 people under occupations in demand. And the lowest score, as I mentioned, was 66 out of 100. That's for Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program. And there were several occupations that they were invited. We have posted the knock codes on our website. You can read through them. The next one was, again, the same day, on September 8, 2021. For express entry, they invited 316 people, and still the lowest score was 66. And the occupations they chose, they were almost identical. Now, this is good news, this special invitation, because many of those express entry applicants, they could be outside Canada, and that's great news. The other one is about British Columbia. So British Columbia on September 7th invited 34 immigrant candidates under 4 categories. So as you can see, the number of people that they invited were extremely limited. It's not a typical British Columbia that we know. So they invited 34 people under skilled worker, international graduate, skilled or Express Entry BC skilled worker, and Express Entry BC international graduate. The minimum score was 80, and they were under tech draw system. And Quebec invited, now this is a huge movement by Quebec. Quebec invited 517 immigrant candidates to apply for permanent selection on September the 2nd. This is also the 4th round of invitations held over the past 4 weeks under the Quebec Regular Skilled Worker Program, or QSWP. And as I mentioned, they invited 515 people, and the minimum score was 499. Manitoba invited 602 people on September 2nd. And the number of letters of advice to apply was 463. Ranking score of lowest ranked candidate invited was 445. This was under the skilled workers in Manitoba. Under the international education stream, they also invited 55 people. And under the skilled workers overseas, number of letters of advice that they issued was 84, were invited directly by the MPNP under the Strategic Recruitment Initiative, and ranking score of the lowest ranked candidate invited was 698. So if you want to know more about this news, you can certainly read my article. I will post the link below this video after finishing this talk. But for those of you who are currently live, you can also check out the chat box. I just posted that. By the way, we are on Google News. So when you click and read any of our news pieces, we have given a link to Google News. You can follow us on Google News. So whenever we publish something, you can read that, or you can subscribe to our website and enable notifications. And whenever we publish a piece of news, you will be informed. For those of you who have posted your questions on the chat box, I will definitely answer them one by one. So please stay tuned. You don't need to repeat your questions. And by the way, for those people who repeatedly come to my channel and ask their questions. I'd be more than happy to answer general questions, but maybe it is in your best interest to book a consultation session so we can review your cases and answer them properly. So we also have a couple of other news pieces, like BC organizations that they are helping with immigrant women and children's literacy. We had something from CBC News that we also repeated here with some extra research, that the tuition fees have increased for international students, which is bad news for them. You can read that on our website. And also, many people asked us questions about IMPC 11. We receive literally on a daily basis, we receive questions about IMPC 11. So we posted another news piece or article about IMPC 11. I just posted the link in the chat box. I will post the link below here. But generally speaking, I will recap. I don't want to take your time for IMPC 11, but generally speaking, IMPC 11 means that you are an entrepreneur or self-employed person who has a plan, that this plan could contribute significantly to Canadian economy and job market, social structure, or cultural structure of Canada, and you are the right candidate to run that plan inside Canada, and you have taken significant or serious steps to start that business in Canada, like registering a business that you own at least 50% of the voting shares of that business. You have a business plan in place. You have liquid assets and net worth to support that business and start that business in Canada, and you have taken some other preliminary steps to run the business. So if you have a satisfactory plan, then you can apply for a work permit. When you work in Canada with that work permit in Canada, after 1 year, you could potentially apply under the Canadian Federal Skilled Worker class under Express Entry, and you could receive a job offer from your own company, and because of that, you receive points, and those points boost your points under the Express Entry system, and hopefully you can immigrate to Canada, or either you or your spouse could qualify for some other provincial programs to immigrate to Canada. So that's a program that many people are interested nowadays, because the owner-operator program is very difficult to deal with nowadays, and actually it's almost dead. And because of that, people have turned their attention to IMPC 11, which is the closest to the owner-operator program. I have been representing clients under the IMPC 11 from so many countries since 2017. So it's been almost 4 years that we are representing people under this program. My clients are coming from, or have come from so far, from India, Pakistan, Mexico, from Chile, from Iran, from Iraq, from Romania, France, the United States, the United Kingdom, from many other countries that Bangladesh, and some other countries that I don't remember. So we have extensive experience under IMPC 11. If you're interested, you can get in touch with us, or you can read that article to know more about IMPC 11. Let me see if we have anything. Some of the working holidays participants, they may request an extension of their work permit, which is great news, because usually the immigration authorities are reluctant in extending work permits for IEC workers. Now, if you're not familiar with the concept of IEC, then it means it's most likely it doesn't apply to you. It's for certain recently graduated people from a few countries that Canada has agreement with them for international education stream, or these are young people, mostly young people, that they come to Canada and they want to have the Canadian experience, international experience, and they go back home, or they may later decide to immigrate to Canada. So that's pretty much it for the news. Obviously, you can check out settler.ca for the latest news. You can also of course, as I mentioned, sign up to our news on Google News, and follow us on Google News, and you will read the latest news. And as usual, whenever I have time, I publish an article about different aspects of immigration to Canada, or I publish a video about different aspects of immigration to Canada. For example, last night I published an article about whether you can work in Canada after finishing your studies. We have so many articles that answer many of your questions about immigration to Canada on our website, or if you want to have a recap, just purchase my book, 88 Tips on Immigration to Canada. Hopefully that will help you to have a better understanding of immigration system. Now let's go and answer some questions. Okay. So the first one comes from SM. Good morning. After medical and biometrics, what will be the next update, CEC Express Entry, and how long it will take? Thank you very much for the excellent question. So when you go through the medical examination, and especially when you visit your online profile and it says that your processing has passed, it means the only thing that remains is background check. And background check, it means that the immigration authorities want to make sure that you are not inadmissible to Canada. Inadmissibility could be for several reasons. For example, it could be because of security reasons. If somebody is a security threat to Canada, it could be for human rights violations. It could be because of for example, issues like criminality or serious criminality, organized criminality, medical issues, financial issues, and so on and so forth, non-compliance with the act. So they looked into all different scenarios to make sure that you are not inadmissible to Canada. By the way, I'm going to deliver an advanced course on inadmissibility to Canada for Ashton College. If you are a practitioner, if you're an immigration lawyer or an immigration consultant, you can attend my course. It will begin on September 28th of this month, September 28th. So anyways, so that's the last step for your application, SM, that they want to make sure that you are not inadmissible to Canada. Part of that investigation is being done directly by the immigration officer, because they have access, or they will be in touch with organizations such as RCMP, which is the Federal Police Force of Canada. They have the access. They will get in touch with them for whether you are listed under as a person who has done some criminal activities or other activities that make you inadmissible to Canada. They have access to CBSA and their own database. Obviously, they want to make sure that there is no misrepresentation, no contradictions with what you said today and what you said a few years ago when you were coming here as a visitor. After all of those you pass, then they also ask CSIS, which is the Canada Spying Agency, to investigate you, make sure that you are not inadmissible to Canada. And then if they receive the green light from CSIS, that's when they issue the permanent residence for you. How long it will take? Well, I've had clients that from the time that they received their medical, they did their medical, to the time that they received their permanent residence, it took them less than 2 weeks, sometimes even 4 or 5 days. I've had cases that it took them 2 years to almost 2 years. Actually, no, exactly 2 years. I had one client that it took them 2 years to do the background check and issue the permanent residence. Generally speaking, for most people, we're talking about 2-3 weeks, 1 month. Normally, it doesn't go beyond a couple of months, but sometimes it could go beyond a couple of months. This doesn't mean that you need to be worried if it takes longer, because sometimes, we're talking about a government agency. So they pass information, the officer asks a question from another government agency, and it takes them a while to reply back to the officer. So it doesn't mean that necessarily somebody is suspicious about you or they are going to make you inadmissible to Canada. It just means that the government system. So when it takes longer to process, it doesn't necessarily mean that they suspect you. It's just that they have not received all the reports to finalize your application. But as I mentioned, for most people, that from the time under express entry, not, for example, spousal immigration, but under express entry, from the time that you do your medicals to the time that you receive the final response, it should take only a couple of months, but sometimes it takes longer. I had 2 cases of express entry that did their medicals more than a year ago, and one of them was they're originally from Iran, the other one is originally from Mexico, and in both cases the immigration authorities didn't finalize their decision even after 1 year. And as you probably know, medical examination expires at 1 year mark. Regardless, we received letters from immigration authorities that don't worry, despite that it has been more than a year that your medical examination has been done, we consider you low risk and we extend the validity of your medical examination. But guess what? No finalization of the application. So right now I have at least 2 cases, as far as I remember, that they went beyond 1 year after doing their medical exam. But most people, they don't wait that long. And from the time that they do their medical to the time that the immigration authorities finalize their application, it will be just a couple of months. And again, as I mentioned, remember, you need to look at your profile, because the profile, if it says that they are still checking your credentials and criteria for immigration, then you have not reached that background check. What I said about 2 weeks or 1 month, etc., is that when they finalize processing your application, and the only thing that has remained is your background check, just as a reminder. Okay, so the next question is from Mr. Will. How to process with a job offer in a province A while I received an ITA in another province B, the nomination process in province B. Okay, so Mr. Will, it looks like that the question that you have is specific to your case. So my suggestion for those people who want to, because this is a public forum, I don't know all the details about your case. This is not, believe me, this is not about just money. Of course, I'm doing business. I'm offering consultation to make money. I'm not going to deny that. But believe it or not, I'm fully booked up until almost all this week. And also even I have some bookings next week. So it means that I'm not going after your money. I just want to receive enough information from you to offer you good advice. So if you are interested, you can I'm gonna do something which I usually don't, but if you click on this link, if you are, and this is only for people who attended live, so people who are watching this recording, they won't see this link. So I published this link on chat box. If you click on that link and you want to book a consultation session with me, you receive 20% discount. So hopefully that will help you to save some money. Oh, Nexus Canada says, greetings from Ottawa. Hi. Okay, so Kartik says, another week ago, no update on study permit, marking attendance in stream. I heard artificial intelligence is using processing study permit. How does this thing work? Also, I saw some Outlander have started getting PPR for FSW who applied in 2019 to 2020. So first of all, for the artificial intelligence and study permit, honestly, I don't know. Obviously, the government does not disclose their system. Of course, they are using different IT techniques to process or identify applications and process applications. But my personal experience is that whatever it is, it is one of the lamest online systems that you could imagine. Think about, compare the immigration authorities IRCC processing system with, for example, processing system by Amazon. Just for a moment, think about that. I understand that the nature is different, but look at the technology. Don't worry about, I'm not talking about the nature of the application, but look at the technology. I mean, now a couple of weeks ago, we couldn't even log into our profile during daytime. It was almost impossible to log into the system. And sometimes you receive important letters from immigration authorities that they have specific deadlines. So we submit the application, no response from them. We received the letter, we try to log in, we cannot log in. So unfortunately, all of these issues exist with the IRCC website. They have a mechanism called IRCC web form. I have a video about this. I explain how to use IRCC web form. You can get in touch with them, but guess what? In the past month or so, they are claiming that because they have received a lot of requests from Afghan citizens, that's why they don't have time to reply back to other questions, or they will reply back to them with delay. I give you an example. I had a case of a sponsor who was withdrawing his sponsorship application. We submitted the withdrawal request, and these things are time sensitive because what if the applicant manages to enter Canada before the immigration authorities realize that a withdrawal request was submitted? But guess what? It took them about 2 weeks, I think, to reply back that we have received your withdrawal request and we have informed the visa office about this, but they have not registered the withdrawal yet. So unfortunately, whatever it is, even if it's artificial intelligence, I'm guessing that their artificial intelligence is not working well. They really need to work on their IT system. They promised us that there will be a new platform, at least for authorized practitioners, in September, but we haven't seen it yet, not even a demo of that system. So we're hoping that things become better. In terms of the FSW applicants, yes, it is a possibility because the final leg of reviewing an FSW application is when you are going through the visa office process. And the problem with FSW applications was that many of the visa offices outside Canada, they are closed. So they are not, or not closed, but they are not working in full power. Excuse me. And because of that, they are unfortunately, people are seeing extreme delays in processing their applications. We also had another issue, and the issue was that the immigration authorities issued COPR, but or confirmation of permanent residence. However, you couldn't travel to Canada because of travel restrictions. So the government removed those travel restrictions on January 21st, and they said if you hold a valid COPR and PR visa to Canada, then you may travel to Canada and validate your COPR and become a permanent resident of Canada. So that problem is resolved. And then depending on the activities of visa posts, hopefully people who are stuck in the system, they will receive their permanent residence soon. Let's keep our fingers crossed that this will happen. So we have a question from Jimmy Phillip. Hi, do you have information if IRCC will now issue COPR for Outlanders applicants from India? So from India, it's very unlikely, Jimmy, because I have many clients from India and no activities. I mean, New Delhi office, Bangalore office, I haven't received anything from them for months. Even when we submit an request to them directly, they don't reply back. Actually, I shouldn't say nothing. I just recently, miraculously, one of my work permit applications from New Delhi, they got their medical request and it looks like it that they are going to process the application. Now, I don't know whether the New Delhi office actually issued that IME letter or another office did that, but at least we know that one of my clients, because I have many, that they're stuck in India. So the visa office in India, visa offices in India, they are super slow. Let's put it that way. So Rommel says, good morning. Can paralegals able to take the EP exam? Thank you. So Rommel, what I know that is that ICCRC has a special route for paralegals to become immigration consultants. Keep that in mind, that the only province in Canada that has regulated paralegals is the province of Ontario. So if you are a paralegal in Ontario, the answer is yes, you may become an RCIC. However, you need to get in touch with ICCRC. Honestly, I don't know what are the conditions for you. There is a transitional option for paralegals to become RCICs and practice as a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. Of course, as you know, under Section 90 of the Act, paralegals, registered paralegals in Ontario, they may also practice immigration. Unfortunately, Law Society of Ontario doesn't allow them or limits their practice in the field of immigration significantly. So that's why many of them decide to become RCICs as well. But yes, there is a path. If you are a registered paralegal with the Law Society of Ontario, outside Ontario, unfortunately, paralegals are not licensed, so there is no path for them. They need to go through the regular training of Queen's University and so on. Get in touch with ICCRC. Hopefully, you will receive good news. Okay, so Mr. Will says, what's the soonest available date to book an appointment? We have been waiting for you because we love your courage and fight for your customer. We are an old customer. Of course, please get in touch with me. Let me see what's going on. To the best of my knowledge, I'm fully booked to the end of this week. Probably I have 1 or 2 spots available on Friday, but get in touch with me. I will look into that. And sometimes if there are special circumstances, I may work after hours and have a meeting after hours. So what is the minimum processing time for work permit? And thank you very much for the nice word. It means a lot to me. So what is the minimum processing time for work permit? Well, Yannick, never ever ask the minimum because you never know. So, but I give you an idea. After COVID, honestly, nobody can give you a proper answer. But if you are from a visa exempt country, like for example, you are from Western Europe, from European Union, generally speaking, you are a citizen of the United Kingdom, you are a citizen of Mexico or Chile, you are a citizen of Japan, and some other countries. If you want to apply for a work permit, in most circumstances, you can apply for a work permit at the port of entry. So you prepare your package, you show up at the port of entry, you present your package to CBSA officers, they review the package, and on the spot, they decide on your work permit. And in that situation, the work permit, the minimum time is almost immediately. I mean, I've had clients, my clients that apply at the port of entry, the processing time for most of them has been under 1 hour. I had a case that it took them 5 minutes. My client was a US citizen to issue the work permit. I've had cases that it took them more than 1 hour. Actually, in one circumstance, it took about 4 hours. But the reason that it took about 4 hours is not because it took them so long to process their application, because the airport was super busy at that time. And they apologized to my client and they issued the work permit on the spot. So this is for people who are eligible to apply at the port of entry under the authority of Section 198. But for the rest of people that they apply online or they present their documents to a visa application center and apply on paper, in those situations, before COVID-19, I had cases that they were processed their application in about 4 days. up until 2.5 months. So the range for most of my clients was between 4 days and 2.5 months. However, that situation changed. Of course, we had exceptional situations even before COVID that it took them way more than 2.5 months to process the application. And for this situation, COVID-19 situation, nobody knows. Nobody can give you an answer. So I've had cases during COVID-19 that they actually processed my online work permit application in 7 days. I've had cases that I still do have cases that they're stuck in the visa office for more than 18 months, believe it or not, for a simple work permit application, and they haven't processed that. The visa office that is processing their application is in Abu Dhabi, and I don't know what's going on with Abu Dhabi, but no matter how many times we contact them, they don't respond and they don't review the applications. But again, the simple answer is, Yannick, nobody can give you a proper answer nowadays under COVID-19. If you are inside Canada, the situation is different. When you're inside Canada and you submit your application, first of all, you have implied status, so you're not worried about how long it takes for them to process, but they usually issue a transitional work permit for you. That transitional work permit allows you to work in Canada temporarily for about 3 to 4 months. And then within that 3 to 4 months, they usually process the work permit application, and hopefully they issue work permits for you. This has been what's going on in the past. We recently submitted a work permit application inside Canada, and that case has not received a transitional work permit. But before that, from January probably to almost end of August, whenever we submitted a work permit application, up until mid-August actually, when we submitted an application, they immediately received a transitional work permit. If you don't know what is a transitional work permit, I have an article about it on our website. Just look up transitional work permit. But generally speaking, after COVID, nobody knows how long it's going to take. Kartik says, I also have a strange experience with web form. I raised a withdrawal, no reply. Again, I got a reply for the second one stating that they can't see that we have already received the request earlier, but never got any reply for the first till date. Yes, unfortunately, I don't know. I mean, if IRCC was my student for COVID-19, they failed. Let me put this that way. They miserably failed applicants. There are significant delays. And instead of focusing on processing applications, they come up with new application types. Honestly, I don't know what they're doing. But right now, the immigration process to Canada is a huge mess, extreme mess. It's always been kind of messy, but never like this. We had many good experiences with immigration authorities before COVID-19 and some bad experiences. But nowadays, it's in terms of the processing times, it's mostly bad news. In terms of the outcome, they stick with their rules, and in that part, I have no complaints. Everything looks okay. The issue is with the processing, with the exception of one visa office that we have filed a huge judicial review against them, but that was even before COVID-19. But in terms of the timeline after COVID-19, it's a huge mess. So Maureen says, hi, Maureen. So Lunga says, hello, greetings from South Africa. Hello. I've had clients from South Africa before, and actually, right now, I don't have any active cases from South Africa, but somebody is going through the process of signing an agreement with us. So next is Canada's Andy. Yeah, Andy, I knew who you are. It's just I didn't want to say your name out loud because I didn't know whether you want me to say it out loud or not. So Kartik, I guess New Delhi has gone in hibernation as they are taking 2 months in just to give a PPR to study permit holder after getting the PPR from CPC Ottawa. Yes, unfortunately, New Delhi is very slow. Some of the visa offices are super slow. Ankara, New Delhi, and Abu Dhabi. These three are extreme in terms of being super slow. Some of the visa offices are okay, and some of them are the best. Singapore right now is very good, and also Bogota in Colombia is very good. So Rommel says, thanks for your answer. You're more than welcome. Yannick says, I'm from India. I have job offer and my employer is applying for LMIA next week. And thank you for addressing. What a wonderful information. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for attending and asking your question. Yeah, in terms of the LMIA process, they are very good. Actually, you raised a good point, because ESDC, which is the Labor Office of Canada, you may also know them as Service Canada, they are in charge of processing LMIA applications. And LMIA is labor impact assessment. It means that labor market impact assessment, sorry. It means that the ESDC will look into your case, to the job offer, and see if giving that position to a foreign national, whether it will impact the labor market in Canada negatively. And of course, for that, they look into their statistics and the requirements, the job market in general, and of course, the legitimacy of the organization that is offering the job. And then they will issue, if they find everything is good, they issue a positive labor market impact assessment. Statistically speaking, the success rate with LMI applications is roughly around 70 to 80%. So it's relatively good. In terms of processing time, the processing time is usually very good. Actually, nowadays, they tried an online system. The online system failed miserably, but they do have an email system. So you prepare the package, you email it to them, and they usually reply back fairly quickly. And that's kind of good news. However, when they issue the LMIA, now you need to apply for a work permit. And if you are from India, your work permit will end up at one of the visa offices in India. And to be honest with you, I don't know when they are going to process those applications, because India has been very slow recently. And I'm not just talking about work permit applications. On top of work permit applications, I have sponsorship applications stuck in New Delhi. And we should have received those permanent residents for my sponsorship cases long time ago. But unfortunately, they are very slow. So the question says, my Kirk friend got BVL on 30 May, no updates after that mailed to New Delhi. He got PPR within 2 hours. I guess after all mail, artificial intelligence woke up after long sleep. It could be. I don't want to stick with rumors, but you never know what's going on. So Hossein, hi Hossein, can you talk a little bit about food shopping in Canada? Are there proteins sold on supermarkets really full of hormones, and those without become really expensive? What about other food stuff? Well, that's not my area of expertise. I can tell you from somebody that lives here. So there are certain strict regulations by Health Canada. When it comes to food in Canada, we have actually regulations at the federal level, which is mostly by Health Canada, and we also have regulations at the provincial level. And these regulations are very strict regulations. They take the health and safety of Canadians very seriously. And the food that you take is usually one of the best foods that you could take in the world. In terms of hormones and those kind of things, I honestly don't know. But if somebody is worried about preservatives or hormones or those kind of things, which are already approved by Health Canada. So if Health Canada has approved it, it's probably safe. But I know that some people, they don't like to just take words from authorities. So they are looking for something that they are hormone-free, those kind of things. Yes, they are available. And yes, the price is much higher than regular food that you can buy. And also some of the items they cannot even sell them. For example, raw milk, it is against the law to sell raw milk. So you definitely need to buy pasteurized milk, but still we can have a milk that is organic, for example, or the cows were free range, those kind of things. Yes, they are available, but they are higher in price. And it's obviously, there is a reason for that, because when you're dealing with a free range chicken or other kinds of livestock, this means that they you need to spend more money and provide them with more space, and that increases the cost of the farmer, and as a result it increases the cost of the final product. So that's the natural way to go. We had a significant increase in the price of food since COVID-19, but that's mostly is because of transportation issues, because some of the food that we buy, of course, is transported from other countries, especially from the United States to Canada. And of course, because of COVID-19, we had issues with transportation. And this is after a very long time that actually the inflation rate was close to 4%, 3.7% in Canada, which is odd. Usually the inflation rate in Canada is anywhere between 1 to 3%. And that's partly because of the fact that the price of food has gone up significantly. So what is the current timeline for SDS study permit processes? So the government tries to process the applications in 3 weeks, but in reality, it may go beyond 3 weeks. But at least with the SDS or study direct stream, the processing time is a lot less than regular study permit applications. Okay, is a job offer based with LMI is good to get a work permit? Yes, of course, this is the basis. So that's the question from Taha. That's a very good question. That's correct. So if you have a job offer and if you have a job offer, then it means that, and that's supported by an LMIA, it means that they have given a green light to immigration authorities to process the work permit application. Does this guarantee a work permit? No, it doesn't, because when you look at job offer falls under Section 203 of the immigration regulations. And the officer to issue a work permit needs to look at Section 200 of the immigration regulations. However, Section 200, as part of Section 200, there is a reference to Section 203, which says you could only issue the job offer if either the job offer is exempt from the requirements of LMIA or you already have a neutral or positive LMIA. So without that, they won't issue the work permit. But they also look into, for example, paragraph B, which means that you can basically won't leave Canada after finishing your work permit in Canada, those kind of things. So they look into your credentials and your skills to be able to do the job. So there are some items hidden inside Section 200, which of course make reference to other sections of the regulations, and the officer looks into that. That's why some people receive LMIA, a positive LMIA, but the immigration authorities refuse the application. Okay, and just to simplify it, it's not exactly the way that I'm saying, but to simplify it, LMIA is like approving the employer and the position, but work permit is to approving the applicant. So because the position or the employer is approved, it doesn't mean that the applicant will also be approved. And also keep in mind, these are two separate entities. LMIA is being issued by ESDC, Employment and Social Development Canada, or Service Canada, but work permit is being issued by IRCC, which is Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. So these are two different organizations, two different kinds of applications, but these applications are tied in with each other. So LMIA is necessary for some of the work permit applications, and that could help the quality of that LMIA, if you will, or job offer could help, but it doesn't guarantee a work permit. So we're almost out of time. I just answer one question from somebody who didn't ask. Can someone enter Canada if convicted theft in other country long time ago? So Jose, the answer is by default is no, you can't. However, there are solutions. Sometimes if it was a long time ago, you could be deemed rehabilitated. Sometimes you need to apply for rehabilitation. If you're interested, after this live session is finished, I have actually a lot of articles about criminal inadmissibility. But what I can recommend to you is just leave us a private message. And I believe we have just give me a second. Let me see if I can. Okay, now I can't find the contact form link for inadmissibility. So I just share with you one of our articles about inadmissibility, but just fill out the form on the bottom of that article, and then we will receive that form, and we could investigate whether you are inadmissible or not. And then, of course, if we need to help you, we will tell you how much it will cost you and how we can move forward. Okay, so thank you very much. Sorry if I missed a couple of questions, but I'm out of time and I have something else to attend to. Thank you very much for attending this session. I will definitely come back next week, again, Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, which is Toronto time. And also, we'll answer your questions. You can follow us on Google News. You can subscribe to our website for the latest information. Also subscribe to this channel for my videos and be notified. Make sure to enable notifications so when I go live, you are notified. Please follow me. Thank you very much. If you're interested, you can purchase my book, 88 Tips on Immigration to Canada. And also, if you are a practitioner, I'm going to deliver an advanced course on inadmissibility to Canada. It will start on September 28th with Ashton College. You can contact us for details, or you can get in touch with Ashton College directly. Thank you very much, and see you next week.